hands tell him plenty. The rest of her comes into view as his eyes adjust. She's younger than her hands suggest. A lot younger. Early 20s, maybe. Bleached blonde hair with the brown roots showing, tied up in a messy ponytail. High cheekbones, a splash of freckles across tanned skin. Daniels would peg her for a college senior heading out on spring break, if it wasn't for the hands. And her eyes, they're a little too big for her face, and she's blinking too much. For a second, Daniels is on edge. If she's high, this is going to get a lot more complicated. But then he relaxes. She's just nervous.
Afternoon, ma'am. I'm Officer Daniels, California Highway Patrol. You coming from Arizona?
That's right, said with a little upward tilt of the chin, like he'd accused her of something.
May I see your license, please?
She starts, digs in her purse. Daniels flashes a quick smile at her passenger, the little boy sitting on a booster in the front seat. His tanned skin is dotted with freckles, untidy brown hair hanging down past his neck. He's wearing an oversized white t-shirt with a bright hot air balloon on the front, advertising the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. His head, which is a little too large for his scrawny body, is bent toward the iPad on his lap. Usually, kids get interested when Daniels asks for a license, ask if he's a real police officer or if he can arrest them.
Yes, I am, and only if you're mean to your mom.
The answers are ready, but the boy barely glances at him. Here, the woman says. Daniels squints at the license. Amber Lee Shank. And she looks as nervous in the photo as she does in real life.
You folks on vacation?
That's right. We're visiting LA. I wasn't speeding, officer.
No, ma'am, you weren't speeding.
He leans down, hands on his knees, looking across the car.
What's your name, young man?
The young man in question says nothing. He ignores both of them, fingers tapping at the tablet screen. He's reading an e-book, and not one with pictures. His finger traces along the text, his mouth moving silently. Daniels blinks. The kid can't be more than 4. He's reading already? At that age, his Kyla had only just figured out the sounds of the different letters. Say hi, Matthew. Amber Lee rests a hand on the boy's leg. He doesn't look up. Daniels has always relied on his gut in the past, relied on it to send up a little warning signal when something isn't quite right. It's just given him the very slightest twitch. He lets it go, annoyed with himself. His brains must be cooking. He's stopped hundreds of drivers since he started the job, and he recognizes the type. Law-abiding, nervous as hell, head filled with scare stories about rural cops.
Well,
he says, hitching his belt.
You might not know this, being from out of state, but your son's too young to ride in the front seat.
He can't?
No, ma'am. Against the law in California.
I want to sit up front,
Matthew says. He has a thin voice, high and reedy. He still hasn't looked up from the iPad. He likes to sit in the front, says Amber Lee.
Sorry. No can do, my young friend.
He taps the pickup's roof.
Better move on over to the back.
We're sorry, officer. Amber Lee glances at her son. Would it be all right if he stayed? I'll drive real careful. Rudy Daniels frowns. He's not in the habit of letting traffic stops negotiate with him, and technically he should be writing her up. Something he wasn't intending to do until she started arguing with him. His stomach rumbles. There are some nuts in the cruiser's glove compartment, packed by his wife, who says they're good for his cholesterol. Daniels happens to think that they taste like salted sand, and he'd be better served by a burger over at the diner in Ripley. He'll have a salad instead of fries, though, to keep Stella happy. He hands back the license. Just put him in the back.